What's up, AfterBuzzers? You are watching Season 5, Episode 5 of Veep Thanksgiving. Tonight we have a little Thanksgiving in May, and Selena gets a little depuffing. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Thank you for joining us for the Veep After Show. Of course, always happy to be here. You can find us on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. Like, comment. We're going to tweet the live link, so let us know what you thought of the show. As always, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant. What about you, Frank?
You can find me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. I feel like every time that theme song plays, I feel like we're doing some kind of really intense political show.
I know. I feel like maybe I should start like with a deeper, like, hello, AfterBuzzers, welcome. Something like that next time. Just to make it a little more like CNN. So did you think it was kind of random that we're having a Thanksgiving episode right now?
I know, it seems so weird. Like, it's May, and all right, we're talking about Thanksgiving.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that was their timeline.
Which I guess makes sense since it happened just so recently after the election, so everything's still in turmoil and you're trying to figure out what it is. So I guess for them it makes sense that it's so close, but it does seem odd, like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I guess they're still in November.
I think I'm just used to, like, you know, shows normally having like a Christmas or a Thanksgiving episode either right before or right after actual Thanksgiving or Christmas, but I like it. A little fall in May.
Yeah.
Not bad. But so we have a Salmonella outbreak on tonight's episode.
Oof.
It's a bad thing.
Yeah, well, yes, I've never experienced Salmonella, but I mean, certainly.
Thankfully.
Yes. Gosh, guys, I brag about my Salmonella experiences.
Never experienced that. And I don't really know what's happening or how it happened, but basically there's a bad Salmonella outbreak and they're dealing with it. It's not really like mentioned other than like this many people are affected by the outbreak and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of spikes up a little exponentially.
Yeah.
But enough. And how much of it is that like the news always likes to whip up stuff?
Right.
Yeah, kind of make things a little bit bigger than what they appear to be, just to get in viewers.
Well, I always wonder, like in real life, how there, you know, so many small cities throughout the United States experience like crazy things, and it never gets reported on. But then, like these random times, something does get reported on. So it's probably just another one of those things. Yeah,
sure.
But so Mike announces that they're going to take a little break for the Thanksgiving holiday, but it's actually because Selena is getting a little eye procedure done.
Yes. And before they do that, she actually gets a chance to pardon a couple turkeys, which the traditional pardoning of the turkeys.
Yes, exactly.
And I do like Mike wanting to just get a little comment about what they're going to do afterwards. The lady that's the turkey handler says, oh yeah, they were bred to be eaten, so they'll probably collapse under their own weight in a couple of years. It's like, ugh, that's a terrible way to think about turkeys that get pardoned.
Probably, pretty much so. They start to fly away though, or fly away.
Yes.
As much as large turkeys can fly away.
And Selena, which isn't she the one's like, oh, these birds are filthy.
Yeah.
So I was just like, she just throws out these random comments. It's all right, fantastic.
Have you ever tried to or have you ever held a turkey?
I've never.
I went turkey hunting once. No turkeys were harmed in the process of this turkey hunting that I did, though.
Quotes, so yes.
Yes, that's why I'm like, turkey hunting.
Was it more like turkey hugging?
You know, we didn't get close enough. But I mean, turkeys can kind of be scary, though.
Did you?
I mean, if you're like afraid of birds, anyway. Not that I'm afraid of birds, but they can kind of be a little scary.
Were you kind of taken aback by how big they were in person?
Yeah, you really don't. I mean, because I'm used to like, you know, a turkey is like this big. A turkey is like this big. I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but.
And it's usually cooked and sitting on my dining.
It's not like clucking at me, running at my face.
It just has delicious stuffing inside it.
Exactly. No big deal. There's a lot of like random little stuff going on in tonight's episode, though. A lot of stuff that's gonna like take characters into a different realm, I think. Yes. Like, okay, so you know. Selena had this eye procedure, so she's kind of MIA because I literally think they called it like an eye depuffing, which I have puffy eyes, so I feel you, Selena.
What? Come on, your eyes look fantastic.
Well, you're too kind.
Yes.
But, you know, everyone has puffy eyes, whatever. So she does this, and it gives her these like terrible red rings around her eyes, But of course, Gary is there by her side the entire time to take care of everything.
Yeah, you just know when the doctor says, "Oh yeah, it takes about 48 hours to recover." So as long as you're fine for the weekend, so you know she's not going to be able to just relax for the weekend. Of course, something bad's got to happen to see how ridiculous she looks.
Exactly. And when a doctor says 48 hours, it's actually like, oh, probably 2 weeks. No big deal. That's what I work for a doctor, and I know that when we say like, oh, you know, you may have a bruise, it's like, no, I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
I do like the doctor and Gary's animosity, though.
I know. Everyone seems to not like how much Gary loves Selena.
Yeah, even Selena, when she says, "Stop touching me every day."
Oh, I know.
He's trying to comfort her.
At the end, whenever he brings her the Thanksgiving meal, and she's like, "Oh, but why are there 2 place settings?" He's like, "Well, I brought this for just in case you wanted someone to sit with you and talk and, you know, not eat or just be quiet." And she's like, "Oh, I'm not hungry." He's like, "Oh yeah, no, me either."
Poor Gary. Poor Gary.
Poor Gary. But so she's kind of avoiding all of this stuff or making comments about all of this stuff because clearly she cannot because she looks crazy right now.
Yes.
So they bring in Doyle.
Look at that.
Our old boy Doyle. So I thought, well, obviously I was very wrong about this. I thought that Doyle like completely stepped down from the administration currently. But no, he just stepped off the ticket for the next selection.
Yeah. So he's still there to give him the Doyle dazzle.
Yeah, because obviously obviously a vice president can't just be like, peace, I'm out.
Yeah, that's right. Because he had a little power vacuum. I'm gone. See you later.
Yeah, find somebody else. So they bring in Doyle, who we haven't seen in a good bit.
Man,
anyway.
Yes.
To make comments or statements about all of these things going on, about the Salmonella outbreak, and he does a pretty good job.
Yeah, the Doyle dazzle.
He does dazzle him. He dazzled me a bit.
I mean, he did it really well, but he wants to know what the real deal is because he knows he's being lied to. He knows that Ben's just feeding him a line to get him to do this.
Well, he even says in the thing, I love how he actually took up for Selena when he was making that first statement about the Salmonella outbreak, when he was like, you know, when you had if you have a root canal, you're not expected to just like go right back in and make a statement, because he obviously couldn't say. Well, he didn't know at the time what she actually had done anyway. But then they have to ask him to make a statement about the House member that passed away. I wrote his name down.
Oh, Sherman.
Sherman,
yes.
Harry Sherman, right? He's the oldest member of Congress, and he was a big O'Brien supporter. So Selena is almost, when she finds out that he passed away, she's kind of like, oh, yes, a little bit, because maybe someone can move in that's a supporter of her.
No, very true. And I do like, though, that at this point, though, Doyle, when he knows that something's up, he wants to know what this whole dental surgery was. It was a code name for anal bleaching.
Right.
That's when he thought, is like, I want to know what this really is.
He's like, she can show her.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I love that he went there. He just went for the anal bleaching right away.
Of course. Why wouldn't you?
Well,
But
yeah,
of course. Why not? Because he's so crass, which is great. I mean, everybody in the Veep universe is crass.
Yeah.
But you're right. Selena is just like kind of laid up. She's kind of almost in hiding, I guess. Just kind of trying to at least get a little relaxation, recuperation while she's trying to heal up.
I wonder if presidents ever actually do this. Like, does it? Well, no, because you could never. You're so under like the public or every single eye in the entire world. So.
Yeah. I think maybe afterwards you could, but not while you're in office.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah. I mean, if you just look at those pictures from Obama when he was first in office to now, you're like, oof.
And see, I look at him now and I'm like, oh, you haven't aged that much. But then, no, he kind of has. But Selena's, she's recuperating and, taking a little rest.
Yeah, just relaxing. Yeah, like she's probably like me. She's probably she want to get a fresh start with a new little debagging.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. So if she, but me, I'm not going to get debagging. But what I would do is I'd get a mattress.
Oh.
So yeah, what I do is I call Casper. It's one of the perfect mattresses that'll help you wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go.
Sweet.
Yeah, what's actually cool about Casper is Casper is an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. It combines springy latex and supportive memory foams to create an award-winning sleep surface with just the right sink and just the right bounce.
Oh, sounds perfect.
It's perfectly presidential.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Exactly.
That's right. Now, see, Time Magazine named it one of the best inventions of 2015. In fact, it's now the most awarded mattress of the decade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if you were to get one, you can get free shipping and returns to U.S. and Canada. And so to make it even sweeter, for 100 nights, Casper's going to let you try it risk-free in your own home. And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you everything.
Dang.
Look at that. Not a bad...
Casper with the customer service.
Yes. It's made in America. And look at that. You can actually go and check it out for right now. For our AfterBuzz listeners, if you can get $50 towards any mattress purchase by visiting www.casper.com/AfterBuzz and using the promo code AfterBuzz, Terms and conditions do apply. So be smart, be presidential. Get yourself a relaxing, comfortable Casper.
Perfectly presidential.
Yes, a perfectly comfortable, a perfectly presidential Casper mattress.
Heck yeah. That's
Yeah.
something I want to try.
Yeah, exactly.
100 days risk-free. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's not just the president that gets all the great stuff, and we can get it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. So while she's recuperating, Doyle's making these statements and everything. He wants to see her because he wants to know the real reason. And he comes in, this is toward the end of the episode, and sees her, and he's like, oh, dear Jesus Christ, what happened to your face? And I love how she's just like, hey, Doyle,
Yes.
how are you?
And she just can't stand him.
I know.
It's just we have to lance that Doyle. That's the one
Yeah.
thing. She's like, we can't have him around her anymore.
She even says, he's like, cut the BS. I haven't seen you in 2 months. What's going on?
Yeah.
But I mean, when you quit from someone's campaign for the next season, how much can you expect to see someone?
Yeah, you're on the outs. You're like, you're no longer the one that's going to be like the flavor of the month. You're old news.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he does have a deal. It's like, I'll go out and do all this talking, but you got to make me Secretary of State.
Yeah. Or you have to at least consider me for Secretary of State.
Yeah.
And she kind of laughs and says, you know what, you have my word. Of course, we all know she's never going to consider him for Secretary of State.
Oh, no.
As much as we love good old Doyle, he's never going to be it.
But when he leaves, he starts making jokes about like Ben beating Selena for her eyes.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, domestic abuse jokes. Oh, I love those.
Those are so great.
Yeah.
Because that's just Doyle. That's his sense of humor. But I like it.
Yeah. But you can see how Selena just goes from like feigning enthusiasm for somebody 1 second, and as soon as they're out of the room, immediately just turns it all off. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of another person who we haven't seen much this season, Jonah is about to get a big... Obviously, we've seen Jonah a lot more than we've seen Doyle, but we haven't seen him that much, I feel like.
No, because you always know it's in each season he's got something, some kind of thing that he's working towards. That he gets that momentary rise to power, and then it all just crumbles for him by the end of the season.
Maybe not this time.
Maybe not. I mean, this maybe it could be an unexpected thing that he could really excel at.
Exactly. So Jonah, we see Jonah. He is bringing his mom around to the White House and letting her take a little tour. He runs into Dan in the mess house and just rags Dan because something gets messed up with Dan's past. What happened with that?
Oh yeah, so he didn't have all his credentials. So yes.
Exactly. So he didn't have the blue pass or whatever. But so Jonah, or obviously the congressman from New Hampshire died, and they have a lovely little meeting with...
Oh, Jonah's uncle. Yes.
Exactly.
Who's the kingmaker, basically.
The kingmaker in New Hampshire. And he is they're discussing who should be, or who should run for Congress, because Sherman's wife is going to run, but they want someone else to run, obviously. So he has this... or is it his son?
Yeah, Ezra. He's grooming his son Ezra to do that, but he knows he can't put him out there right away.
Because he's in Afghanistan, serving in Afghanistan. So they're talking about some, I literally think they say like idiot who's willing to run his name and reputation into the ground because they want someone just to like take the seat for a year before Ezra can get in. And I guess they think of Jonah.
I mean, if you're thinking somebody that's willing to, to do all this work and ruin the reputation, who else but Jonah would be willing to do that?
But he gets so excited that it almost makes me feel bad for him because he like does this little prayer to himself and this pep talk, and he's just like, he immediately gets excited and already starts like crap talking against Ezra. He's like, Lesra is what he calls him one time, and he's like, I can't help it if he's gonna like eat my dust or whatever. And his uncle kind of puts him in place, and he's like, no. You are lucky that I'm thinking of you to even slightly put you in this place for a year. So he's going to come in after you, and that'll be fine.
Yeah, you're like the wooden puppet that I just put out to talk. And when I put you away, you'll be thankful you had the chance to do this, and you'll let Ezra take everything.
Exactly. Why? But okay, so when Gary is reading the thing to Selena at the end, when they're serving the troops on the ship in her Ray-Bans to cover her eyes, of course, because at this point she has to say something. Why is she so unhappy about this, do you think?
I mean, I think you just don't want to have Jonah have any kind of like position of any sort of power, even if it's just really temporary and illusionary at best. But you don't want to have Jonah...
he would support her.
Yeah, I guess, but then she's also got to at least throw like probably like a pity support behind him as well too. Like,
yeah.
Does Selena really want to go out there and like vouch for Jonah?
And just to deal with him, like anytime he gets any sort of power, he always is gonna like.
Oh yeah, because you.
The terrible description right there, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean by that.
He's gonna he's gonna walk right in. And he's like, hey, now that I'm a congressman, all right,
right.
I've got to talk to the president. Excuse me, guys.
Yeah.
Especially if you can throw it like in Dan and Mike's face.
I wonder if they will actually do that.
Of course they would, because it'd be the worst thing to happen for everybody.
Yeah.
Is to have Jonah and to become congressman, because I feel like the way they're setting it up here is like Jonah is not going to go quietly into the night, like you were saying.
Of course he's not.
Yeah, so he gets in that. He is not going to easily just step aside and let Ezra come in and take it from him.
But him and Richard, I'm loving their little budding bromance, if you would. And he's like, can I be the first one in your campaign? He's like, yes, chair, or what is it called?
Oh, chief of staff.
Chief of staff. And he's like, let me earn it. He's like, of course, there'll be a vetting process. But I like, and his mom invites Richard to Thanksgiving. It's just a sweet little
Yeah, and I do like
friendship.
what Jonah said. I've never backed down from anything. So what about the ice bucket challenge?
Oh yeah, he's like that raised a lot of money for whatever ALS is.
Yeah.
Richard says, and I just like how every line he says, he has a smile on his face, like no matter what.
Oh,
he's
yes.
like, it raised a lot of money for whatever ALS is.
Oh,
Cheesing the entire time.
It's like, yeah, where Jonah's uncle's like, who are you?
Right. Another kind of little budding, not a bromance, but a relationship. Tom James and Dan.
Yeah,
Where is that coming from?
It's interesting because I feel like it plays great for Dan because he'll go to wherever he sees like any kind of potential job opportunity that raises his profile is.
Right.
So even though he's not that excited to be on Tom James' thing, when he feels like Tom James is making some kind of end run around Selena,
Yeah.
then he's like, all right, hey, I see you're making a power play. I'm with you. Put me in the game. I'll do anything I can to get you all that stuff.
Yeah. I think he thinks that working for Tom is going to be like cool because Tom is cool, or that's what everyone thinks anyway. But actually, Tom like sends him to get his coffee almost immediately. He's like, "Gosh, I'm just jonesing for a coffee."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah, oh okay, I'll get you one." And then like he makes him get the lint off of his shirt. But Dan picks up on all these speeches that Tom James might have something going on with Sidney Purcell. Sidney Purcell, of course, is the lobbyist that Dan used to work for. And I don't know, like what he mentions different things that Sidney promotes. I think it was like Pfizer and salmon and something like that. And zucchini, yeah. So what do you think that could possibly be? Or you think maybe just, I mean, clearly I think Dan is on the right track, but I wonder what Tom could be up to.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, certainly when he says two other words are be and careful.
Yeah.
So
clearly he's up to something.
yes, but Dan has shot himself in the foot though when he had his meltdown last year. So I mean, that's a perfect excuse for everybody just to blame it on his supposed mental instability.
Right.
So that nobody would ever take Dan seriously.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would drive him crazy. And I do like the moment there because I saw it as soon as he pulled out the lint brush and wiped off the lint. It's like, man, he's just like Gary.
Oh yeah.
And then the next scene where he sees him
with the Gary with the tea and Dan with the coffee, and they're just like,
oh yeah, and
he's gonna be his bag man.
Yeah, exactly. Dan realizes when he's there, he's like, oh man,
I don't even know, but I think that I don't know. Dan has to play it carefully. Well, obviously, Tom tells him that he has to play it carefully. But who does he go to see to talk about this? He goes to see Amy at her family's Thanksgiving, and her dad, of course, flips out. He's like, "You screwed both my daughters," which I forgot, and I had to ask you during the episode. But not a smart move, Dan. But he just he clings to Amy.
Yeah, and now you want to sleep with my wife. That's what you want to do next.
Oh yeah.
So you want to get all three of them, right?
Clearly, that's the logical next step. But so I think Tom James could be up to something with Sidney Purcell because there's potential for him to be president.
Yeah, I mean, well, you saw him when he went on the Today Show to kind of, you talk about Thanksgiving, talk about turkeys and stuff like that. I mean, he was incredibly charming,
right?
Talking about Thanksgiving. So I mean, you feel like he makes it look very effortless.
Yeah.
So I could see every reason why Selena would be scared to have him, get any hint of probably running for president.
Exactly. That kind of brings us to predictions, but did we miss anything?
What do we? Oh, we got
Mike Surrogate is a go.
Yeah, jeez.
Finally, I hope good stuff happens for Mike because he deserves it.
Well, just him standing right outside, the briefing room, and every time he'd be like, "Oh my gosh," and then Ben asked him what it was, and it would always be something related to the surrogate.
Right.
And so he does bring Wendy in because he knows that the turkeys get their own hotel room.
Yeah.
So he goes, "All right, hey, let's celebrate that the surrogate said, all right, we can put a baby in you." And have sex in the turkey's hotel room.
Right. I love how Ben, though, does call out his wife's great rack.
Yes.
Good thing to recognize as a friend.
I also enjoyed when Mike was saying, like, when he's mad at me because I left her and my parents and her parents and the kids at her place. And Ben's like, I don't even know who's at my house.
I don't even know if they're in town. I'm like, this is terrible.
Yes, but I also like how much Ben is just jumps right on. He knows when Selena needs an out. Like when Catherine's like, "Hey, just want to know when you're coming over to my house." It seems weird for me to say that.
Yeah.
And she's
because that's actually Grandma's house.
Yes.
Now it's her house.
And Selena's like, "Well, I've got to make these calls. Well, can't you make them from that house?" And Ben is just right there. Nope, it's got to be from the Oval Office.
Right. She's like, "Isn't it just 202 or unlisted?"
Yeah, they're just so dismissive of her.
Catherine, she a little bit clueless.
Oh.
Well, she's not though. She knows what's going on, but a little bit. Okay, let's talk about some predictions. What do you got?
Well, I'm gonna go with
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I get to feel like Jonah is gonna win that seat, and he's not gonna give up the power that easily, and it's gonna frustrate his uncle and Selena to no end.
I completely agree with you.
And I feel like Dan is onto something, but it's gonna take him a while to find anybody that's gonna be willing to listen to him.
Yeah.
I mean, Amy's probably going to be his way in to get people to listen to him. But it's going to take a little bit of convincing with Amy just to be able to... Because I feel like Amy kind of sees some stuff but doesn't know what it means at all.
Right. I think it could be one of those things that, okay, so obviously a big point of this season is she going to end up being vice president? Or we all kind of think she could end up being Veep again somehow. But then, let's say Tom James or the... weirdness happens, Tom James becomes the president. He said that he would make her his Veep. I think that could almost be one of those things that's like, I know that you were doing this like backhanded under the table stuff with this lobbyist, so back down. I don't know. That's a reach, I guess.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Because I could only imagine if she did become, it did play out, Tom James becomes president, she becomes the Veep again. We're already going to kind of see that same kind of relationship where she's kind of iced out from the president. She's just, she rarely sees him. She always has to do this like grunt work.
Right.
So we've already seen that for so many seasons.
Basically how she treats her vice president.
Oof, yeah. That's what I love about Selena. She just repeats everything that's ever been happened to her. She just pays it forward.
Yeah, and does it even worse half the time.
I mean, same thing with her, the way her mom treated her is the way she treats Catherine. The way the president treated her is the way she treats everybody else underneath her. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle with the Selena.
Yeah, very true. I think Jonah's gonna win, and we know he's not gonna give that up easily.
Oh, no way.
But I want to see Dan succeed. I feel like every time Dan gets a little power himself, he ends up getting like knocked down by something.
But I also feel Dan's his own worst enemy too.
True.
Because he's always chasing after whoever thinks can benefit him the most.
Yeah.
And he ends up just shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah. And he did throw that party for himself that one time to celebrate himself. Yeah. So that's not that great, I guess.
No.
I don't know. Another great episode though tonight. As always, can't wait till next week.
Oh, man. All right. Yes, I cannot wait.
Looking forward to it. All right, everybody. As always, you can find us all at AfterBuzz TV. Let us know what you thought of tonight's episode and what your favorite lines were. As always, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant. What about you?
You can find me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
All right. See y'all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.